For so many non-resident Indian families, there's this huge dream, right? The dream of seeing their kids get into a top-tier medical college back in India. It's more than just an education. It's about connecting back to your roots. But here's the thing, turning that dream into a reality, especially somewhere as competitive as Delhi, well, that can be a serious challenge. So what does that journey really look like? What are the hurdles you've got to know about? Let's dive in and break it all down.
So, this is the big question, isn't it? You've got the dream, you've got the ambition. But that first step, it can feel absolutely huge. Where do you even begin? You're thinking about the NRI quota, trying to figure out if you're even eligible. Then there's the whole business of getting the right sponsorship documents from overseas. It can honestly feel like you're staring at a mountain. And believe me, you're not alone in feeling that way. Thousands of families face this exact same question every single year.
All right, let's talk about navigating this admissions maze, because that's really what it is. The reality of the NRI quota process is, well, it's complicated. This isn't just about filling out a simple application. The whole thing really revolves around the NEET UG exam. That's the big one, the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. It's the one exam you have to take to get into medical school in India. Now, for NRI students, there is a special quota, but actually getting access to it, it can feel like you're trying to find your way through a maze, blindfolded. So let's pinpoint the exact challenges that make it so tough.
I mean, to put it simply, the whole process can just be completely overwhelming. And it's easy to see why, right? Think about it. You're probably managing this super high-stakes application from a totally different country, maybe even a different time zone. And you're trying to deal with a bureaucratic system you've never encountered before. It's a lot. It's a totally understandable challenge, and it's something so many NRI families run into. So where does all this stress come from? It really boils down to three main things. First up, just so many forms. The sheer volume of paperwork is insane. Then you've got the documents themselves, which can be super confusing. The requirements are incredibly specific, especially when you get into things like embassy attestations and getting the exact right proof of NRI status. And finally, the cherry on top, the rules can change. The official regulations can be updated, sometimes with almost no warning, and suddenly families are left scrambling to keep up.
Okay, so given all those challenges, it makes sense that a lot of families start looking for some expert help, right? A guide they can actually trust to get them through that maze. So what does that kind of support even look like? To get a better idea, we're going to take a look at the approach of one consultancy, Oasys Education, and see how they tackle these complexities. And this really gets to the heart of it. In a process that's full of changing rules and confusing paperwork, trust is everything. It's absolutely paramount. Families need someone who can give them clear, honest guidance on things like eligibility and all the important deadlines. What you're really looking for is a partner who's totally transparent about every single step, from the first form you fill out to the final seat allocation. You don't want any hidden surprises along the way.
Now here's something that can be a real game changer, having a dedicated team right there on the ground in Delhi. Think about it. Having that local presence is just so crucial for dealing with all the administrative hurdles directly. It takes what is a really complex and remote process for families living overseas and just simplifies it.
So, let's look at how you go from complexity to clarity. How does a service like this actually transform that confusing maze into a clear, straightforward pathway? Well, it all comes down to having a structured approach, something that's the complete opposite of the chaos you'd face trying to do it all by yourself.
This really paints a picture, doesn't it? A tale of two journeys. On one side, you've got the old way, overwhelming, full of stress and confusion. That's what happens when you try to go it alone. But on the other side, you have the Oasys way, simplified, stress-free, and most importantly, compliant. This path is designed from the ground up to meet all the standards set by groups like the NMC, that's the National Medical Commission, they're the ones who regulate medical education, and the MMC, the committee that actually handles allocating the seats. The whole point is to make sure you're doing everything by the book, right from the very beginning.
So how do they get that clarity? It's done through a really simple structured three-step process. Step 1 is what they call qualifying control. Basically, they make sure you're actually eligible for the NRI quota before you waste any time or energy. It's a critical first check. Then comes Step 2, document verification. This is where they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb to make sure you don't get rejected over some small technicality. And finally, Step 3 is navigating the seat allocation process, which, let's be honest, is usually the most competitive and stressful part of the whole thing.
What's the end goal of this whole structured approach? Well, it's pretty clear. It's about securing that admission into one of India's top medical colleges. It's about knowing for sure that you're meeting every single standard set by the MCC and the NMC. And maybe most importantly, it's about making the entire experience as stress-free as humanly possible for you and your family.
Okay, so we've walked through the complexities, and we've looked at one possible way to navigate them. This is your path forward. If this is a journey you and your family are thinking about, the big question is, what's your next concrete step to get into medical school? So if you're looking for that kind of personal help, you can get more information from a provider like Oasys Education. You can find them online at oasyseducation.com. Honestly, just researching your options is a fantastic first step to finding the support that's right for your family's journey.
At the end of the day, getting into a medical college in Delhi is a massive undertaking for any NRI family. There's no doubt about that. So the real question you have to ask yourself is this: how are you going to prepare for all the complexities? Are you going to navigate it on your own, or are you going to seek out some expert help? It's that decision that will help turn that incredible, long-held dream into a reality.